Students, today let's just continue the production chapter, and under the production theory there is a necessary unit that is called the law of variable proportions. Law of variable proportions states that as we increase quantity of only one input, keeping other inputs fixed, total produced, that is also known as TP, initially increases at an increasing rate, then at a decreasing rate, and finally at a negative rate. So students, here this law states that the quantity of one factor is increased, keeping the other factors fixed. The marginal product of that factor will eventually decline fixed amount of other factors. Secondly, if you say there must be some inputs whose quantity is kept fixed. LVP, that is the law of variable proportion, is also known as law of return or returns to variable factor. Again, LVP is also known as law of return or returns to variable factor. In other words, if we just try to understand this theory highlights, it refers to the input and output relation when output is increased by variables, the quantity of one the quantity of one input. So students, in short, it refers to the input and output relationship. Well, let's, if we say again, it defines, if I just explain this whole concept. First concept said that why this return, what are those reasons of these return to a factor. First is returns to a factor. That means if we are utilizing better our fixed factor, then it returns to a factor. Another reason could be increased efficiency of variable factor. That simply means if we are increasing our variable factor, then also it results in returns to a factor. Another factor related with indivisibility of fixed factor. That means if we are in dividing the fixed factors, then also it shapes the return to a factor. Now again the question comes, what are the reasons behind the diminishing return to a factor? Why the factors diminishing? So you can say optimum combination of a factor could be one reason, or imperfect substitutes are there. If there are imperfect substitute, then also the result will be diminishing return to a factor. Now the third thing of this theory, this variable proportion, says that finally at a negative rate. Now negative returns to a factor, what could be the causes? That means limitations of a fixed factor. If you are limiting the fixed factors, then it will show the negative returns. Or poor coordination between variable and fixed factor. If there is a poor coordination between variable and fixed factor, then also finally it shapes to a negative rate. And another which we can add, that we can say that the variable and fixed factor decrease inefficiently of variable factor. That means if the variable factors are decreasing, okay, so again that will result to a negative rate. Now one more point comes here under this theory. What are the reasons behind the variable proportion? First is, as I say, better utilization of fixed factor. That means if the supply, suppose I say land, is too large, whereas variable factors are too few, so this makes the variable proportions. Second, increased efficiency of variable factor. Again it is repeating, if the variable factors are increased, and that also in efficient way, so that make the reasons of VP. Indivisibility of fixed factor based on short run. Actually the variable proportion is based on short run production function, and the famous economist which gave this theory were Alfred Marshall, Benham, Samuelson. They contributed maximum to this law. Maximum to this law, that means they have given their views time to time to make the concept clear. So, Alfred Marshall, Benham and Samuelson are the famous economists behind this theory. Well, students, let's continue. Here, I have taken an example. For example, if we assume that labor is a variable factor because it keeps changing according to the output. So, as we plus the total number of labors working on a machine, okay, if some labors are involved and they are giving their output through a machine, here what we are doing, we are increasing the total number of labors who are giving their machine job. We cannot afford to buy a new machine. That's why what we are doing, we are doubling, we are adding the human power as we are in the short run. But we can. Now, this theory applies that surely increase the number of laborers working on the machine. As I say, because of some certain reasons, okay, we are not able to buy new machines, so we are increasing the labor power. Secondly, the total production plus with plus in labor, but later it falls. Okay, as the workers are adding, definitely it will also show increment in the production. But according to this theory, the labor will later falls down. Third thing, the average product. Now, what is average product, students? Average quantity of goods produced using the factor of production. That is called the average product. Now, here this theory says then when we are doubling our labor power, then it too increases the average product initially and later starts falling. So here the average product also increases, but afterwards it declines. Now, third thing, according to this theory, that the marginal product. Now, what is marginal product? Marginal product increase in the quantity of goods produced by increasing one extra unit of input. Okay, if we just add one extra unit in our input, that is called the marginal product. Here again, this theory says that the marginal product will also increases initially but later falls. So in short, if I sum up this example, so if we are adding our labor power, it is showing the increment in production, in average product and the marginal product. But later on it declines, it starts falling. Now it happens, what are the reasons behind those elements? Now, as I say, it happens because of division of labor. Division of labor, what we have done? We have dividing the labor according to their ability, according to their time shifts and wages, etc. As the number of labors are increasing on a machine, the efficiency of the new labor will increase initially because of division of labor. That's why they are giving their maximum output, because here the division of labor theory works. That's why it shows the increase in the labor and increasing in the output also. And the reason is division of labor, when we are dividing the duties, where we are dividing their jobs, etc. Now let us take the diagram, and again through this diagram we will get the concept so clear what exactly this law of variable proportion means. You can see this y-axis is for the output and this x line is showing the amount of variable factor. Now, as you can see through this diagram, there are three stages: stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. Now let us take one by one and get the points clear. Students, stage 1, this is the law of increasing return. Stage 2 is the law of diminishing return, and stage 3 is the state of negative return. Now, let's take the first one, the stage 1. Stage 1. Here you can see that TP increases. Here this is increasing. MP also rises. Marginal product also rises in this stage. This one. And AP goes on rises. This AP. Okay. Stage 1 says that MP rises, AP rises and TP rises. Both are, all three are rising. After point F, this point is F. After point F, TP rises but at diminishing rate. Okay. Now it is showing the diminishing. That means it's going down. Well, MP falls but in positive. Here you can see that the MP is falling down. This one. This MP falls but it is also showing the positive. And stage 1 ends where AP reaches its highest point. Here as you can see, this stage and this is the AP curve. This is the ending of this first stage, and this also shows that the AP reaches its highest point. Okay. So this is the first stage which is showing the law of increasing returns. Move to stage 2. This stage 2, that is called the law of diminishing return. Here students, in this stage, actually the TP continues to increase at a diminishing rate until it reaches its maximum point H. As you can see, this is the maximum point H, and here it is showing the decrease, okay, in the stage 2. Second, both MP and AP, this AP and MP, both continuously falls during this stage. Again, it is showing the falling curve. The slope is going negative. Third, in the stage 2, the stage ends when TP reaches its highest point H. As you can see, this is the TP, and in the stage 2, again the highest point is the H1. So, students, in the third point, the stages end. And where it is ending? Where TP reaches its maximum point, and the maximum point is H. So, this is the stage 2 which shows the law of diminishing return. Well, this is the third one, that is the stage 3. It shows the stage of negative returns. Now, negative returns, as you can see, in this proportion, in this stage, TP is declining, MP is negative, and AP is also diminishing. Okay. In short, TP, MP and AP, all three are in negative form. So, this law is known as the law of variable proportion. Now, for this theory, students, there are certain assumptions which are necessary. First assumption, and the important one, it operates in short run also. In short run only. So, you can say that this law is applied in the condition of short run. Second, it applies to all fixed factors including land. So, it is also the main point that we are taking all the fixed factors, and here we are taking the land also. Third assumption is it applies to the field of production also only. So, whenever the subject is related with production, then this theory is the apt one. Fourth assumption is the effect of change in output due to change in variable factors. If the variable factors are changing, so definitely it will show their result in the output. Fifth assumption is technology is assumed to be constant. Here the technology will be constant. And last one is all variable factors are equally efficient. So here the variable factors are treating equally, and that also efficiently. So these are the certain assumptions related with the law of variable proportion. Well students, finally the conclusion of this theory, of this diagram or this law is that a rational producer will never produce in stage 3, because that the stage 3 is a negative returns. So where MP is negative, so a rational producer will never produce in third stage. Okay. Second conclusion, if we just go in depth, this theory says that the rational producer also not produce in stage 1 also. Stage 1 where MP of X factor is negative. If the MP of X factor is negative, so a rational producer should not produce in the first stage. Third thing, according to this law, is the producer producing in stage 1 will not be making best use of fixed factors. So in stage 1, if the fixed factors are not utilizing in their best way, so this theory is not fulfilling the condition, and he will not be utilizing fully the opportunity of increasing production by increasing quantity of variable factors. In short, students, in stage 1, if the producer is not utilizing the fixed factors and increasing the quantity of variable factors, it is not going to be beneficial for his final production or output. So that's all for this today. I hope you got the law of variable proportion understood. Thank you.